Welcome to this short video from BI System Builders. I'm Russell Beach, and what I'm going to be talking to you about is how to create a web intelligence document using a business intelligence tool from SAP Business Objects. I guess the first thing to say when we start to talk about business intelligence is that business intelligence is all about taking data from various source systems, loading it into a single data warehouse platform, and making that data easily available to business users to analyze the business and make decisions. So if we're joining data up, we need to have a good security model. That means that we need to log in, and so I'm just logging in here into the Business Objects business intelligence platform known as InfoView, this particular portal. I'll just pop in my password. You can see for demo purposes that I'm logging in as admin. You'd log in as your own user, and once we're within the platform, you'll see on the left hand side something that will look familiar to you. A series of folders. These folders are very similar in structure to the way they would be represented in Windows Explorer, and you see we can just build up a folder structure. Everyone has a favorites folder within Business Objects, so I'll click my favorites folder and I'm going to say new. Click on new, and I can have a choice to make several different things: analytics, dashboards, Voyager workspaces, which are OLAP related queries. But for this video I'm going to be showing you how to use web intelligence. So create new web intelligence document. Now when I click on the web intelligence document, I have a list of some things which are known as Business Objects universes. Now we'll cover off Business Objects universes in another video, but just for now let me say that a universe is something that sits between the web intelligence tool and your data warehouse and allows you to create queries without having to be technical. And it's quite usual when universes have been well designed that you will have one or more universes per business process area. So you might have one for sales and marketing, you might have one for CRM, you might have 5 for supply chain, 1 for finance, human resources, so on and so forth. I'm using this marketing performance universe, and I'm going to be looking at, for demonstration purposes, sales and marketing data. So I double click on the universe and the Web Intelligence Report Engine cuts in. Now the first thing that the engine does for me is it creates something known as the Web Intelligence Query Panel, and it's within the Web Intelligence Query Panel that I can start to put together my business questions. Now if you look on the left hand side, what we're looking at here, these yellow folders, they're actually known as classes because we're looking at classes, and then the blue are objects, dimension objects. These things all exist within the universe. So through Web Intelligence we're having a look at a universe, and what these objects and classes do is they represent tables and columns within the data warehouse, but in a user-friendly way. So let's say for instance that I went to the product class, click on product, and you see what happens. I have a series of objects which are actually tables in my data warehouse. Now if I double click product name, you see it appears in the results object, and if I was to click on product name and drag it back to the left hand side, it will disappear from the results object. Same with department. Either double click or click and drag and department appears in my results object pane. Now what has just happened? What's just happened is Web Intelligence, using the Business Objects universe, has behind the scenes written some code for me to bring data from the data warehouse. If I clicked on the small SQL button, I can actually show you that code. View SQL, click, and the SQL viewer opens up, and you see here's a little bit of code. The code is called SQL, short for Structured Query Language. The important thing is that as a business user, I don't need to be able to read this code, I don't need to be able to write this code, and I don't even need to know that this code exists. As a business user, I just need to understand my business process area. Because I'm using sales and marketing data, I need to know a little bit about sales, a little bit about marketing, and things like customer and product, which are things I use every day. Now if I was to run this query, and you'll see here on the top right hand side, run query, click that button, and the query executes against the database. That code executes behind the scenes for me, and this is all happening live, by the way. I've just returned a very simple table with two departments, grocery and well-being. Well, that's okay, but not very informative. I already knew that we had two departments with grocery and well-being. I'd like to see, for instance, what products at what locations are winners for me when we put promotions on, and what are losers. So in order to create that, to answer those questions, I need some more objects. I'd like department, I'd like location, I'd like campaign name, I'd like offer name in there in that table, I'd like to have promotional sales, and I'd like to have base sales. Okay, well, it's easily done. I go to edit query and I find those objects. So I already have department. If I go to location, I can double click, location name appears on the right hand side. I can go to campaign, open the campaign class, double click, campaign name appears on the right hand side. Then I can go down to marketing offer, open the marketing offer class, double click, offer name, and then I'd like to have my promo sales and my base sales, and things like sales and costs and spend and budget are found in a class known as measures. So open up the class known as measures, and you see you have a series of subclasses. I open up marketing sales, and there's promo sales, double click, appears on the right hand side. There's base sales, double click, appears on the right hand side. So now you can see that when I run this query, I'm going to have a table which is department by location name, by campaign name, by offer name, showing promotional sales, and showing base sales. Or at least I will have a table after just a few clicks. First of all, let's go to that SQL button. Let's see what's happened to the code. Web Intelligence, using the universe, has rewritten the code into a much longer query. But of course, as I said, I don't even need to know this code exists. Web Intelligence, or Webby as it's sometimes known, does that for me behind the scenes. Okay, let's run the report. Go to run query. Query goes to the database. All my objects appear on the left hand side. Let me drag in promo sales. There we go. Promo sales and well-being. Let's say, for the sake of the demo, that I just want to investigate data on sales in my grocery department. I want to get rid of this well-being row. Well, I could apply a filter, or I can do something more powerful. Go to edit query, click on edit query. We go back to the query panel, and I will go to my product class, and what I've created before the demo in my universe was a filter object which is called selector department, and will throw a prompt for me next time I run the report. So that means I can easily parameterize and change my data. Every time I refresh, I'll get a choice. I drag and drop or double click and the filter appears in query filters. And then if I go to run query again and run the query, what happens is the prompt panel appears. This is the prompt panel, and you'll see selector department. You'll also see grocery and well-being. They're the two values, they're the only departments I have. So I can click on grocery and then click on the arrow in the middle. Grocery moves across to the right hand side, and then I can click run query and watch what happens. The well-being department has disappeared and my report is now dealing only with grocery. Okay, let's have a look at this promo sales measure. Remember, objects with the blue icon are dimensions, objects with the orange icon are known as measures, and measures are dynamic in nature. Now what do I mean by that? Well, at the moment I'm looking for total sales just for my grocery department, but if I was to bring in location name from the left hand side, click, drag and drop, and you see that those figures split out by location. If I was to click on location name and drag it across to the left hand side and drop it, my numbers dynamically calculate back up. Now what I've been doing so far is really this so-called self-service BI, self-service business intelligence. I'm helping myself to data from the data warehouse. It's quality assured data, and I'm manipulating data through dragging and dropping or slicing and dicing. Okay, well let's bring base sales also in. So if I click on base sales and move base sales across next to promo sales and drop that object there, you see now I have base sales and promo sales. I'd like to see location name in this table. You see how I'm building the table up. Go to the left hand side, click on location name, and then I drag, holding down the mouse, I drag location name across into my table, decide where to drop it. I'm going to have it next to department, drop there. You see all of my calculations calculate out. Now base sales, say 89,127. We're not using currency for this, we've just got a demo data really. And don't worry, because the way that we've calculated base sales is just as average sales over 12 months across all departments. Okay, so it's always going to be the same per department. What I'd really like to see is any variance between promo sales and base sales. So I can easily do that within Web Intelligence by creating a formula. And what I'm going to do is create something called a variable that holds that formula. So take the mouse up onto the left hand side to the variable editor and click variable editor. And my variable editor dialog box appears. I need to give the variable a name. I'll call it variance. And just like in Excel, all formulas have to begin with equals. So I type equals, and I've got a series of functions in the middle, operators on the right hand side. I can build up very complex formulas and calculations if I want to. This is going to be a simple one for the demo, and I will just click on promo sales, and then I'll type minus, and then I'll type base sales. So it's a very easy formula. Variance equals promo sales, promotional sales, minus base sales. Then I click the little green triangle which checks the syntax. It validates. Formula is correct. Okay, let's close that. Say OK. Now Now look what's happened. The variance variable has appeared on the left hand side with my other objects. It's an object just like the original objects that I chose. So if I now click on variance and drag it across to the right hand side of the screen and drop at the end, you'll see that it's carried out the calculation, and you'll see that some of my figures are in the negative. In other words, in my grocery department for Hobart High Street and Hobart Birmingham, in those stores I've made a loss. Now it would be very interesting for me to be able to quickly see stores that had made a loss, for instance, or not hit target, etc. Through an alert. Let's say make them red, because if I had a list of 200 variances, I'd like to be able to scroll down quickly and see where those variances were. So I'm going to create something called an alerter. I click on variance, then I take my mouse and I move the mouse up to the top left hand side to this red triangle with the exclamation mark in the middle. It's called alerters. I'm going to click alerters. The alerter dialog box appears. I go to the new button, click new, and I have to give this alerter a name. I'll call it variance alert. Variance alert, and then I create the conditions for the alert. Now these can be complex, and again, for brevity we'll make an easy one. So we're on variance. I would say my variance, when the variance is less than or equal to 0. Okay, I've either made no gain through my promotions or I've lost money. If that condition is true, show me cell contents in red. Okay, I could go to the format button and create a different format. I'll take the default. I click OK. I click OK, and you can see that the minus 10,556 and minus 11,447 are now showing as red. Okay, I'd like a chart to go with this table. Well, with Web Intelligence that's very easy. Just click on the table, or block as it's also referred to. Right click, get a menu, click copy, click over on the right hand side. Right click, get a menu, click paste. The block appears. Just line that up a little bit, and I think I'll remove variance from this table. Note that my initial table remains the same. I'll remove base sales, and I'll remove department, and now I have location name by promotional sales. If I now right click on the table, I get this option to turn to. When I click turn to, I can choose various different tables including crosstabs. I could choose a pie chart, a line chart. Let's have a look at a pie chart. And on this pie chart I could format the colours, I can change the names, the labels, I can apply values. If I right click and click turn to again, it's very easy for me to choose a different type of chart, bar chart, and there we have promo sales by location. Of course I'm not using a date range in this particular demo, I've just got a year's data, but I could have a prompt with a date range, etc. Now this self-service BI, this slicing and dicing and dragging and dropping data, this is known as creating a query on the fly. It's known as creating ad hoc analysis. Okay, in other words, I don't have to wait in the queue for IT, I don't have to call on a colleague with technical expertise. As long as I know the objects in my business area, I can find insights, very useful insights into my data. Right, report title looks a bit scruffy. If I double click on report title, I can give it a more sensible name. Promo sales data, I'm calling this. and of course I'm playing with default formats here, blues and fonts and sizes, but I can change all of these colours if I'd like to do that. But down to business. What I'm very interested in doing is finding out what is really causing me the loss. I want to do some root cause analysis on the fly. Why am I losing 11,471, whatever that currency is? Dollars in the US, sterling in the UK, etc. And I could have dollars here if I wanted to, and the 10556. It would be great for me if I could drill down into these groceries in this Hobart High Street to find out what products or what product lines are causing this loss. Is it one or is it many? Well, with Web Intelligence it's very simple. I move my mouse up to the right hand side, the right hand corner, and I click the drill button. Now watch what happens to my table when I click on drill. Okay, click drill. The values in my table become underlined, and when I hover over grocery I'm given the option to click to drill down to category level. Okay, let's have a look at the 11,471 for Hobart High Street split down by category. Click, and I drill down a level. Now I can see that, sorry, I went down 2 levels accidentally there. It should have just gone down 1 to the category level. But interestingly, did you see what happened? When I went down that extra level, I went back up a level easily by just clicking the little blue arrow there. Click the arrow and you'll go back up. Okay, so looking at my categories and looking at Hobart High Street, I can see that I've got a real loss, 8,863 for my frozen category. Hobart High Street for dairy is also making a loss. I think that's something I'm going to look into as a secondary task, but let me look at this big loss first, this 8,000. If I hover over frozen, I can go down to product lines within my frozen category. Let's see what product lines are responsible for these losses. Okay, I've got 2 product lines. I have vegetables and I have frozen desserts. Frozen desserts, I'm taking a hit of 6,751. Vegetables for Hobart High Street, 2,112. So I think I'm going to drill down into my frozen desserts to find out what products are causing me a problem. Why am I losing 6751? Let's click on frozen desserts. Okay, and I can see that choc chip surprise and not summer fruits. I've got 2 frozen desserts here. Choc chip surprise is causing me a major loss at 4561. It would be nice at this point if I could take a snapshot of this data. Well, I can easily just take the mouse, move it up to the top right hand side, click the camera, take a snapshot. When I click the camera, a second tab appears at the bottom of my report. You see, I had report 1, now I've got report 1.1. Let's click on report 1.1, and you see there's no option to drill up and down here. Okay, everything is frozen. That's a snapshot of the data. If I right click, I can give this a better name, rename report, and I'll call this choc loss. And then I've got report 1. Okay, now this report remains fully interactive. What I'd really like to know is, are any particular campaigns or offers causing me problems at Hobart High Street? I can do something now which is called sectioning the data. Sectioning the data splits my data out further into groups. So let me pull in campaign name. I'm dragging campaign name, drop campaign name, side of the report. That's one campaign. It's called Sustain Frozen Share. Let's go down. Actually, that's the only campaign I have. But I know that one campaign has many offers. Let's drop in offer and see what happens to the data then. So I drag in offer from the left hand side to my report. Now look what's happened. The Sustain Frozen Share campaign had an offer called free freezer bags, an offer called free ice cream mold as in something to shape your ice cream with, and free ice tray. So we've got 3 offers within that campaign. And I can see, just by quickly scrolling up and down, the free freezer bags, there's no loss there. There might not be big wins, but I've not lost that much. But when I get to the free ice cream mold, Hobart High Street again, choc chip surprise, losing 2581, and the free ice tray 2367. So what you can see is that I've quickly got to a root cause analysis, and now I can call up our marketing manager, find out what's happening for choc chip surprise for Hobart High Street, find out whether we should look at this offer, change that, see how we can reverse these figures into a trend, into a more positive trend. The last thing I'm going to do is just to save this report. The way that I save this report, top left hand side, just like with a Microsoft Word document, click save, little dialog box appears, I click a folder of interest, I'll go to my favourites, give this report a name, so I'll call it promo loss or promo sales, negative, say OK, and the report is saved. Now this concludes our educational introductory video for Web Intelligence. I hope it's been of some interest, and BI System Builders will be covering off many products within the SAP Business Objects Business Intelligence stack, so I hope we'll see you again in another video. Okay, thank you for watching. I've been Russell Beach.